Hello, this is Deborah Yao with Black Education TV, coming to you with another segment in the Tough Love series. Now, this particular video is going to be addressing a question that was submitted by a brother. Now, this brother, he had a very serious question and is for the daughters of Zion to take heed if you find yourself in this situation. The brother's question was this. He said, now, what if you have a wife who is disrespectful, among other things? He says he's getting to the point where he's fed up. He says he's fed up and he just want to walk away. Now, we all know that in every marriage there are situations that arise both from the husband and the wife. Now, I did notice one comment that was made to this brother, and the comment was, but there are two sides to every story and we don't know her side. Now, certainly that is true. But I will say this much to address this brother's concern, and I'm going to assume that what he's saying is just what it is, okay? Because there are cases, and I have seen cases to where a wife does not honor her head, you see. Now, we also understand, I have to say this, we also understand that there are men who do certain things and they are completely out of order and they do not honor their head, and so the wife is having a difficult time honoring her head, you see. And that's not to give her an excuse. I'm just trying to explain that there are situations like that where it's dysfunction all around. But there are cases too to where the man is doing the best that he can and the wife is just disrespectful. She doesn't honor her head even if he does honor his. And you have women who don't want to take heed to their husband in their righteousness. I've seen cases like that. I mean, since I was a child, I've seen cases like that. Of course, most of the situations that I have personally seen are situations where the head is out of order or the head is sick, and so therefore the whole body is sick, you see. But in addressing those who find themselves in the situation to where the wife is out of control and she's disrespectful and she doesn't submit and she's just she's extremely disobedient, you see, even to the voice of Yah, even to what the scripture tells her she is to do as a wife. What I have to say to that is this, to the daughter of Zion, because this man has already expressed. He said, look, she is disrespectful and I'm fed up, okay? When a man says he's fed up, okay, he's ready to make some moves. Like he said, he's ready to walk away. And what I would say to the daughters of Zion, any woman, and I'm basically speaking to those who are in this situation, not those situations to where the wife is doing her part, but the man is just, you know, doing whatever he's doing. But if you are a woman that is finding yourself in this situation where you're very, very disrespectful and very unruly, unable to take heed to the voice of your husband, unable to submit and all of this, let me tell you something. You need to take a look around you. Take a look at the world around you. Men are not exactly growing on trees, especially if you're a black woman. They're not growing on trees, and they're not beating doors down to marry you. So if you are just disrespectful and you find yourself to the point where you are just this mean, nasty, bitter woman who no one can deal with, I'm thinking that you should take heed to what the whole world is screaming and hollering at black women, is that there seems to be a shortage. The scripture even tells you that there's going to be 7 women for 1 man. So bottom line, sister or daughter of Zion, if you are in this situation, get your act together. I mean that's as straight as I can say it to you. You need to get your act together, or you're going to find yourself without a husband, without a covering, you see, and you're going to find yourself very, very lonely, because men have a tolerance level that's very, very low, and they can only take so much of that, you see. And I am not talking to those sisters who have a man who's contemptuous and they're just like, I can't take it, and so they're having trouble submitting to that. I'm talking to sisters who have a good man, who's doing the best that he can. He might not have everything that you want. He may not be providing for you that big house on the hill that you've desired from a child. But if this man is handling his business, he's taking care of you, he's sweet to you, he's bringing home the money to take care of the bills, he pleases you sexually and all those other things that you look for as a wife, then what is your problem? What is your problem? Do you think they're growing on trees? In case you hadn't noticed, there is a shortage of black men for black women. They are leaving in droves. You see, they're going to these other nations and they are marrying those women. Some of them are in prison. Some of them are strung out on drugs. And some of them are homosexual. So if you got one who don't fit any of that and he's good to you and he's doing the best that he can, get your act together. I've seen this. I have seen situations such as this. One particular situation I can remember as a child. This was a good friend of my mother's, and she was married. Well, see, the husband is dead now. This is a long time ago. He's dead now. He was a good man. He was a really good man. But he married Broomhilda. She was a bee on wheels. You hear what I'm saying? Sorry to those of you who are offended by that, but that's why I used the initial B, because I know that some of you are offended by that, but that is what she was. She didn't care who she behaved like this around. We were children, and she would do things and belittle this man and hurt him in front of us, in front of my mom, in front of her own children. She was just so disrespectful, so nasty. And I will tell you a part of the story. This woman must have had some serious demons in her, because she was such an evil woman. We remember that they had a child that they got out of foster care, and they eventually adopted her. But the child was just so beautiful. She was 2 years old. She was this tiny, frail, innocent little child. This woman was so wicked and evil that she would abuse this child so bad. And we would be over there, and me being a child, I used to love this little girl. My mom loved her. She even told her one day, she said, look, if you don't want her, I will take her. Why are you treating her like this, you know? But she would treat this child so bad that, you know, as a kid, I didn't understand that. I'm like, why is she treating something so beautiful with such harshness and wickedness, you see? But what ended up happening, and I think she did this to break her husband's heart, because her husband loved this child. He was, like I said, he was a good man. They had 4 children of their own, in which the mother was rotten to the oldest 2 children. Her youngest 2 children, she spoiled them rotten. They were like little hell on wheels, and she allowed them to get away with that behavior. But let me tell you how the Most High's judgment works, okay? Let me tell you how his judgment works. This woman, one day, she beat this little girl so bad. But before that happened, she had knocked her down in one of those big, hard, heavy steel tubs. And she busted the child's head so bad to where her whole head and eyes and everything was black and blue, literally. And when we all saw this, as a child, I was just awestruck that someone could do something to a child in this way. But she did that, okay? She hurt this child. And as time wore on, we would still visit, and, you know, because they lived around the corner, they were friends of ours, and so my mom would take us over there, and, you know, we would play and all of this. But one day, the little girl had a birthday party. She was turning 3, I believe, and she got overly excited about her cake and ice cream or something. She's a child, you see, but this woman was so wicked. Let me tell you what she did. She said, you little bad, it was something, she used to call her knothead or something like that. You little bad knothead or something. She made her go lay down in the bed while her cake and ice cream melted all together into a big bowl of mush. And then she made the child get up and eat it hours later. She was punishing the husband because he really loved that child. Now the last straw was this. And this is what we were told. Again, we were children, and this was people that we knew, you know, coming up. And The last straw was when she beat the little girl so bad that the child went and took a nap and she never woke up again. And it was determined that she had blunt force trauma to the head from this evil, wicked bee on wheels. And so what ended up happening was all of the children went into foster care and she went to prison. And her husband got extremely sick because of this. So that whole family was broke up because of Broomhilda. So there are women out there who are, you can't deal with them. They are intolerable, you see. But let me tell you how the judgment of Yah works, because this woman was so evil that her two youngest sons, that she allowed to have their way and do whatever they wanted. The very youngest son, he would put on these hard dress shoes. I don't know if you all remember how the dress shoes used to be back in the day. They were very hard. And he would intentionally run and jump over the little girl's head and boom, kick her in the head and go over. And her little body would just go back like that. And this woman would sit there and watch this happen, and she wouldn't do a thing. Now, I know what some of you all may be thinking. You're thinking, what was the husband doing in all of this? She had this man running scared. I'm going to just be honest with you. She had him running scared. That's why I know when I hear a brother say that his woman or his wife is a particular way, it is very possible. Very possible. But again, back to the judgment of Yah. The husband ended up dying. One of the other children ended up dying, and her spoiled child, the one that she spoiled him rotten, she let him do evil things to this little girl. We found out, as a matter of fact, two of her other kids died too. One of them died of cancer. We don't know how the oldest girl died. The husband died. And the youngest child that she cherished so badly, who was like the mini version of her, he was shot and killed in New York. That's how he died. So she only has one son left in her. So it's like her whole life was just a result of the wickedness that she was and the wickedness that her husband allowed, because he didn't step into his headship and bring things under control. His whole family dissolved in an instant. Everyone went their own separate ways. Of course, the two oldest ones, they moved on and did their thing. Everyone grew up, and 3 dead kids, 1 alive, husband dead, and now Broomhilda is the only one left to stew in her bitterness. So there are women out there who are just so wicked beyond imagination. And if you are a man who finds yourself in that situation, I can't tell you what to do. I would say that you can consult the word of the Most High Yah on what to do. I understand what the one sister said, that there are 2 sides to every story, but this is why it's very important to men and to women. Don't just look at some woman because she's beautiful. When you first meet, there's this chemistry. When you have chemistry with a person, make sure it's not just bodily chemistry to where you are just drawn to the sex that this person has to offer. Because once you establish a life with this person and decades go on and you begin to bring children into the world, you're going to either birth in more hell on wheels, or you're going to have hell for your own self, whether it's a man or a woman. You see, and the scripture talks about a contemptuous woman. That's something you don't want. A menstruous woman. That is something you don't want. And sometimes men are so overtaken by beauty and booty that they cannot contain a rational thought on what is life going to be like 10 years down the line with this woman. So to the brother, I would say, I don't know what to tell you in your situation. The decision is yours, because you said you just feel like walking away. You said you're fed up. I can't tell you what to do in that situation, but my address was to the daughters of Zion. Any of you who find yourself in a situation where you know you a wicked woman, trust me, when a person is wicked, they know it. Ain't nobody stupid. People know when they got demons swirling around in their head. They know it. The point is, or the problem is, sometimes other people don't know it because we've become to accept certain things as normal. everything is just so normalized. Wickedness is so normalized to where if a person sees someone as good, oh, they're too good to be true, you see. But when you see someone, oh, that's normal. Oh, I got an auntie like that. Oh, my cousin is like that. My grandma's like that. Big deal. We've become to accept wickedness as normal. This is why it flies under the radar so well. And people defend wickedness. Sometimes wickedness is staring you right in your eyes and you cannot see it because it's become normal. You see it in television, movies, and sitcoms. You hear it on the radio. You hear it in the music. And so when you hear it just constantly coming at you, when you see it right up the street from you, when you see it in the schools and in the stores and on World Star Hip Hop, when you see it all over the place, to you it is normal, you see. But that reality is someone's reality that they're living. This man is living that reality with that woman. These children are living that reality with that woman. And so I'm going to tell you right now, it's not normal. A lot of people have demons and you do not know because they mask themselves so well under this cloud of deception that we see in the world. The cloud of deception is so thick to where most people can't identify demonic activity. And unfortunately, a lot of people have married people who have been infiltrated by demons. If you are a brother or a sister, I say before you enter into marriage, you better pray. You better pause. Don't just jump into it because you are burning. You know, I know the scripture says it's better to marry than to burn, but think about 2,000 years ago. Things were quite different than they are now, you see. Now, sin was running rapid back then, so you can imagine today what it's like. So you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you have married a demon. I don't mean a literal demon. I mean a person who has been overtaken by them. And you find yourself miserable. You find yourself just not knowing what to do, what direction to go in. But you have married somebody that is impossible to deal with, whether it's a man or a woman. But for a woman, if you find yourself sitting up with demons all hosted in your body, you better think twice. And you better try to figure out how to get them out because men are not growing on trees. If you got yourself a good man, you better hold on tight, okay? Because it's not that easy to find one. It's easy to find a devil. It's easy to find someone who's going to mistreat you, use you, and abuse you. But finding a good man is not easy. And if you have one, you better hold on tight. One thing I want you to keep in mind, too, because there are two sides to every story. And unfortunately, too many of us will take that one side and that's enough. This is the error of man. You'll take that one side and that's enough. But the scripture clearly says that an evil man will usually draw to himself an evil woman. It may not be the same kind of evil, but there may be something in you that may have drawn that type of woman to you. Now, I'm not saying that that is your case to the person who asked this question, but that is a possibility. So look within yourself too and determine if there's anything that you can do, because at the end of the day, the man is the head. He is the head, and you have to gain control of your house, you see. And it might not be easy to do, but I can guarantee you this. If you as the man really does according to what the Most High says, and you establish your authority in the house, and I'm not talking about beating no woman and doing nothing crazy like that, but if you establish your authority right, she will respect it, or she'll leave on her own. And with that, I will say shalom.